we want to warn you that there is something coming. They call it a city killer. Okay? It's a city killer. It is in the sky, and it is high, but it is coming at us fast. And they just found it. Apparently, we're not very good at this.
Is there any way to direct it at San Francisco?
We cannot. We cannot. Can't direct it anywhere. It will choose what city, if it does hit here, it wants to destroy.
So every day we have objects from space entering the Earth's atmosphere. Most of it burns up, but some big pieces come down. And every now and then, like several years ago, we had the big explosion over Chelyabinsk, I believe, in Russia, near a city, and broke windows and things like that. And of course, 66 million years ago, we had the big impact in, I guess, what is now the Gulf of America that wiped out the dinosaurs. So there are two ways to look at it. That, okay, we're getting impacted all the time, and every now and then we're going to get a real big one that could threaten life on Earth. It's been 66 million years. Has it happened very, very rarely, or are we due for another one?
Wait, what? Hey, does this happen all the time, or maybe it's our time? I mean, you got to think about it. 66 million years. That's a good ride. That is. So it's heading towards us. It is bigger than the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And you're thinking, that's not a big deal. It is when you consider all of the stuff that comes with it. Okay? This is not something to be trifled with. And we care about you guys. This is our thing. We care about you. We want you guys, like us, to be safe. That if we have to go to higher land because it hits somewhere, the water could come up, whatever it is, we want you to know we are there for you.
So we do track these objects. Astronomers are making observations, and they refine their estimates of how close these different objects are going to come to the Earth. So it's not a surprise that this asteroid and many others, they're obviously the astronomers are looking at them and making adjustments and estimates. It's not a completely precise science because...
First of all, I would like a precise science when we're talking about this. You say trust the science. I'm trusting you, okay? I don't want to know that, some kid found it and you guys weren't looking in the right space.
Did you take your vaccine for the asteroid?
I don't even know how much toilet paper I need for it.
You need a lot of toilet paper and a whole lot of eggs, and you got to get your vaccine.
Got to get the eggs. The eggs. It's all about the eggs.
Of course, any object that's out there orbiting or flying close to the Earth and our solar system, it's going to be influenced by other objects out there, other planets, exoplanets, stars, things like that they fly close to. So it's not an absolutely precise science.
We need a precise science. That we do. I mean, there's some things out there you're like, you know what? I'm going to ask for some precision. I'm going to ask that we have some sort of understanding if this thing is to come. It's a big if, but it's not as big as if as you think. And I joke about it being a city killer. It's not. At the speed, and we'll get to the speed in a minute, where it would hit, how it would hit, depending on where it is, it will destroy regions.
Yeah, it's not really that simple, and then if you have this object coming and you think, well, let's blow it up, and then you use some kind of a device to do that, well, now you've created smaller fragments and perhaps increased the chances that one of those fragments, some of which might be large, would have a better chance of hitting us, right? So there's an old adage in space flight and in flying, pilots, where think about what you're about to do, because you could make the problem worse.
That's right. The law of unintended consequences. Now, I was curious, so I had the guy. He's a nerd. He's a nerd from Nerd NASA. And I said, nerd guy from Nerd NASA, science nerd guy with all the patches. How fast is this thing going?
These things are out there moving at, think about it this way. The orbital speed of a spacecraft is around 17,500 miles an hour. A vehicle coming back from the moon is traveling somewhere around 25,000 or a little bit higher miles an hour. So it could be tens of thousands of miles an hour, or even faster. There are a lot of objects out there.
A lot of objects out there. So luckily for us, James Webb, the telescope, an emergency, they declared, and they actually moved the telescope to focus on it. But you see, we live in a country that is MAGA through and through. We live in a country that is red, white, and blue. We live in a country where, as we speak, the team is together and they're getting ready. Let's go check them out.
So here's the flight plan. Now let's keep the laughter to a minimum. I know this is not to scale. Both shuttles will take off Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Now, 67 minutes later, you're going to dock with the Russian space station to meet cosmonaut Andropov, who will refuel the shuttles with liquid O2. That's your fuel. Then you'll release and take a 60-hour trip toward the moon. Now, we only have one shot of landing on this rock, and that's precisely when the asteroid passes by the moon. You'll then use lunar gravity and burn your thrusters, slingshotting you around the moon, coming up behind the asteroid. You'll be moving at 22,500 miles per hour.
It's good. It's good. I like the fact that they're on target. These are our men and women who are willing to sacrifice for us. They're willing to go out of their way to do things that most people just wouldn't.
Let's say that we actually do land on this. What's it going to be like up there?
200 degrees in sunlight, minus 200 in the shade, canyons of razor-sharp rock, unpredictable gravitational conditions, unexpected eruptions, things like that.
Okay, so the scariest environment imaginable. Thanks. That's all you got to say, scariest environment imaginable.
Okay, so you drill, you drop the nuke, and you leave. Now, here's the key. You're going to remote detonate the bomb before the asteroid passes this plane, zero barrier. You do that, and the remaining pieces of rock should be deflected enough to pass right by us. Now, if the bomb explodes after zero barrier, game's over.
And a region's gone. We take care of you here, people. And by the way, how big of a thing is this? Like I said, it's bigger than the Leaning Tower of Pisa. If it was to hit, say, the Midwest, you're probably going to lose several counties. Right? If it hits the desert out in like Arizona and it's way out there, you're not going to lose a lot. But if it hit Phoenix, it's going to destroy Phoenix. So they're looking at this. And yes, he actually talked about it. They had a graph that if they tried to shoot something at it, because they said, well, what if you shoot something at it? He's like, yeah, if it goes sideways, it's going to break in two, and then it's going to be even worse nightmare. Kind of like the movie is what we're saying. Jiminy Cricket. Several people have chimed in here about their great sales people that were in their cities. Several of you have heard about Cal Worthington, which I'm very excited about. And this is because we were talking earlier, Puckett Chevrolet. I don't know who they are, but I like their thing. Crazy Eddie in New York is very famous. So, Bates Ford is that in Lebanon? That's the one that you said you got to eat, right? We'll trade you anything as long as it don't eat. Yeah, lots of those. So let us know what your crazy salesperson was that you can remember. Like going to a store where they were selling who knows what. It could have been cars, it could have been refrigerators, it could have been CDs. And because the beauty of living in across the country is I've been able to see a lot of crazy. And it's awesome because every town has one. Every town has somebody who is the guy selling the car, right? We used to have a guy out in Arizona. He would dress up like a pickle. Are you in a pickle? How about a nickel? I'll get you a car. Like it's those kind of things. And I think they're hilarious. Speaking of hilarious, Trump meeting with the King of Jordan. And he's pretty much going to tell him, hey, you're going to have to take some of these people. And you know how that's going to go. It's like, hey, are you guys ready to take some of these people? And it's like, we're not going to do that, Donald. He goes, I think you are. We give them $1.6 billion on average. They get a vast majority of that from USAID, which, as we all know, is currently on timeout. And the reason we give them so much is because they have taken a huge amount of Syrian refugees that have escaped the war over there. And so that is a lot of what we've done to help them out. And I have a feeling we're going to do the same thing here, which is, hey, we'll give you an extra $500, $600, $700 million. You're going to have to take some of these people. And they're going to tell, no, we're not going to take any of them. And he's going to be like, but you are. And they're like, we're not. And he's going to like, but you are. You know you are. No, we're not. You kind of are. And he's going to do the same thing to Egypt. Now, Jordan, he's got more sway over. I don't know about Egypt. Egypt's a little bit bigger. Egypt's got a little bit more power. They've already had their issues with the Palestinians that they want no part of. Totally understand. But you're not talking about giving them, it's like, hey, guys, welcome to Egypt. Let's all go to Cairo and we'll get you guys an apartment. I don't think they're talking about that, but it's what land, because they're looking out there going, look, you've got all this stuff over here. You can give this away. And Hamas is coming out saying, well, part of the issue is he is saying that we're going to do this. They're going to do this thing and they're going to get rid of the Palestinian people. Yeah, because if you don't change everything, it's not going to work. Now, that doesn't mean Trump needs to build a hotel there as much as he would like to. That doesn't mean any of it, but you've got to make a serious decision on how you're going to approach this, because if not, we're going to be right back here in 6 months or a year. We may be back there on Saturday because Trump has said, hey, if our people aren't out, if this is still going on Saturday, that's it. Now, I don't know what it means. I don't think it's us putting boots on the ground. I don't think we're going to be dropping any bombs. But as Bell and I were talking before the show, does that mean Trump goes, hey, Bibi, do whatever the hell you want at this point in time? I don't care. Right? We're not looking. You guys do whatever. And I'll get behind you. It could mean that. And we know with Trump, right? Like with the last guy, it's the one thing about Biden. Biden would go out in front of everybody and go, this is horrible. It's awful. It's horrible. And then behind closed doors, like, look, I got to say that. I don't care what you do to these people. That's kind of the way it went. We're never giving you bombs. Here's all the 22,000-pound bombs you guys want. So with Trump, he's just being straightforward. If you don't do this, something's going to happen. What that is, I couldn't tell you. But you have to change it up. I have been on this planet for 48 years, and I look around and I think, I don't know how many times we've been through something like this. I don't know how many times we've seen this fight long before I was on this earth, long before many of you were here. And nobody ever thinks, what do we do to change it? Well, to change it, you're going to have to do something completely different because everything that's been tried fails. So it's going to have to be something that's big and bold, but you have to have buy-in. Because if you can't get buy-in, even if you put up the best resorts in the world, who's going to go there so you can ride a jet ski and get assassinated? That is not a good selling point. Not. Coming up on the Chad Benson Show, it's very interesting. We'll probably get into a little bit more next hour about Mayor Adams and what is actually going on. Because everybody thinks it's kind of he's getting away with everything. It's not really that. It's kind of unique. But there's a reason Trump is doing it. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. We'll talk a little bit about that. Bunch of other stuff coming up. I watched the Super Bowl. Many of you did. Many of you didn't. We talked yesterday about the commercial. Several of you said you did watch the Totino's thing and said it was hilarious. There was a Yeezy spot. Did you see the Yeezy spot? Oh, my God. We're going to talk about that when we come back. When you think he can't get any crazier, he's like, hold my whatever.
He deleted his Twitter account.
Oh, wait do you, this is insane. This is insane. We'll talk about that straight ahead. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.